If you've got a retirement savings, let's say a TSP, a 401k, an IRA, someone's probably told you at some point not to withdraw more than 4% per year. Now on 500,000 in savings, that's only 20,000 a year, and after taxes, maybe 16. And that's what the financial industry thinks that your $500,000 is worth. But a growing number of veterans are using a completely different structure, one that guarantees 7, 8, even 9% or more per year in retirement income. So that same 500,000 is not 20,000 a year, it's over 45,000 a year, and it's guaranteed for life. No market risk, no fear of running out, no annual management fees that are draining the balance. And if one spouse passes away, the other keeps receiving income for as long as they live. And this is not a loophole, okay? It's not some gimmick. It's a structural difference in where your money sits and how it works for you. And once you understand it, you'll never look at the 4% rule the same way. So I'm Dan Farnsworth, retired naval officer, 23 years of service, and founder of Victory X Financial. And let me walk you through exactly how this works and why most advisors will never show it to you. So first, let me explain why the 4% number exists because, well, it's not random. There's a reason for it. And the reason is the problem. When your retirement savings are in a TSP or a 401k or a traditional IRA, that money is directly invested in the stock market. So you basically own shares of funds, and then when the market goes up, let's say 15%, your account goes up. But when the market drops, let's say 30%, your account drops by 30%. And if you're pulling income during that drop, which, you kind of have to because you need to eat, right? You're withdrawing from a shrinking balance, and that's the death spiral. Losses plus withdrawals at the same time. And your account can't recover because you keep pulling from it while it's trying to climb back. Now, financial planners know that this can happen, but they just can't predict when. So their solution is the 4% rule. Withdraw as little as possible and just pray the crashes happen late instead of early. And that's the entire strategy. Withdraw less, hope for good timing. Now think about what that actually means for your life. You saved 500,000 over 20 or even 30 years of discipline, and your reward is being told to live on 20,000 a year from it because, well, the account it's sitting in is so fragile that anything more might cause you to run out of money before you die. The 4% rule isn't protecting your retirement. It's a confession that the structure your money is in can't handle real withdrawals. So what happens when you move your money into a structure that can? And here's what most veterans don't even know exists. There are market-protected indexing strategies where your money is linked to a market index, let's say the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ, but it's not directly invested in the market. And that's not a small distinction, that's the entire difference. So when the index goes up, your account gets credited with growth. And in strong years, you're participating in market level gains. And in some structures, you're even getting upfront bonuses on top of that. But when the index drops, which it will, okay, your account has a floor, so you don't go backwards. Your principal is protected. And your gains from previous years are locked in. So the crash that would have wiped out that 30% of your TSP balance, it doesn't even touch your money. Now think about what that protection means for retirement income. If your money can't go backwards, then there's no sequence of returns risk. And if there's no sequence of returns risk, then you don't need the 4% safety margin. And if you don't need the safety margin, the income that your savings can produce isn't limited to 4%. So these structures can guarantee 7%, 8%, even 9% or more per year in retirement income for life. And not because they're generating some magical returns, but because the risk that forced the 4% limit has been structurally removed. That's not a better product, that's a better architecture. So let's say you got 300,000 in savings. Well, under the 4% rule, that's about 12,000 a year, and after taxes, maybe 9,500. That's 790 a month from 300,000 in retirement savings. Now, under a market protected income strategy at 8%, it's 24,000 a year, so literally double. And depending on the structure itself, that income could be more tax efficient than a straight TSP withdrawal. So now let's look at $500,000 in savings. Under the 4% rule, it's about $20,000 a year, after taxes, roughly $16,000. But under a market protected strategy at 9%, that's $45,000 a year for life, more than double from the same savings. Now let's look at $750,000 in savings. So under the 4% rule, that's only $30,000 a year, and after taxes, maybe $24,000. But under a market protected strategy, it's over $65,000 a year risk-free, and both spouses are covered for life. Same savings in every scenario. The only thing that's changed is the structure that the money is sitting in. And the difference isn't just 10 or maybe 20%, it's double or triple the retirement income from money that you already saved. So now let me show you how this plays out over a full retirement for two real scenarios. So let's say we have a veteran couple, age 45, okay? The husband just recently retired from the military, and they've got $200,000 in the TSP. Now they watched it drop during the last market correction, and they don't want to go through that again. Their goal is dependable income starting at age 65. So in a diversified TSP account, that $200,000, it may grow to around $1 million if the markets cooperate. But under the 4% rule, that $1 million still only produces $40,000 a year in retirement income. That's only about $3,300 a month from 20 years of savings. So here's what we do instead. We move the $200,000 through a tax-deferred rollover, so no taxes due, into a market-protected accumulation strategy. Now that rollover immediately does three things. One, it removes the annual management fees, even though they were low, that they were paying inside the existing account. Two, it protects the balance from future market crashes. And three, it can even give them an upfront premium bonus that accelerates early growth. Now their money is linked to market indexes with high participation in gains and zero participation in losses. Now, based on historical return assumptions, that $200,000 is projected to grow to approximately $600,000 by age 55. So no crash along the way is going to set them back. Every gain is locked in. And now at age 55, we reposition the funds again into an income-focused strategy. So another bonus applies, and they get guaranteed compounding on the income base. And by age 65, their income base has grown to over $1.2 million, and they turn on income, over $93,000 per year for life. Both spouses covered. If the husband passes first, the wife keeps receiving the income. If the wife passes first, the husband keeps receiving it. And they still have access to their remaining balance, which continues to also receive annual index credits. Now, $200,000 under the 4% rule, that was only going to generate about $40,000 a year. But $200,000 in a market protected strategy, over $93,000 a year. That's not a marginal improvement, that's more than double the income. Okay, now let's look at a couple that's closer to retirement, because I'm sure some of you watching this are thinking, look, Dan, I don't have 20 years, okay? Does this still work? Well, here we have a veteran couple, let's say they're age 62, and they got $500,000 that's combined across old 401ks, TSP accounts, and, maybe some IRAs. The husband has a military pension and some VA compensation, and they just turned on Social Security. So they have two concerns. First, they don't want large taxable withdrawals from their savings pushing them into some higher bracket or triggering IRMAA, which increases their Medicare premiums. And second, they want predictable income that they can count on no matter what the market does. So we position the $500,000 into a tax-deferred, market-protected structure. Now, this strategy guarantees 8% annual compounding on the income base with full downside protection. Their principal cannot go backwards due to market losses. Now, they don't need income immediately, so they wait until age 67. By 67, their income base has grown to over $730,000, and then they turn on income. And it's approximately $55,000 per year, guaranteed for life, both spouses covered. No market crash, no correction, no recession, nothing changes that number. Now, under the 4% rule, that $500,000 might have grown to produce around $32,000 a year, and then they'd spend every year of retirement watching the market, wondering when the next crash is the one that's going to break them. Okay, but under this structure, they never wonder because the income is guaranteed, the principal is protected, and the stress is gone. Now, some of you watching this might be thinking, well, if this exists, then why hasn't my advisor mentioned it? Well, there's a couple of reasons. First, most financial advisors are trained on traditional portfolio management. So they know stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETF, right? That's their world. Market protected indexing strategies aren't part of their standard toolkit, so they just don't learn it, right? They don't offer it. Not because it's bad, but because it's just not what they were trained to sell. And second, and I'll be direct about this, the fee structure is different. A traditional brokerage advisor charges annual management fees on your portfolio. So it's usually about 1% a year. Now, 1% a year on $500,000 is $5,000 a year coming out of your savings every year, whether the markets went up or down, whether you made money or you lost money, they get paid regardless. Now, many market-protected strategies have no annual management fees at all. There's no out-of-pocket cost to the client. The compensation structure works differently, which means that the advisor who's earning $5,000 a year managing your TSP rollover has no financial incentive to tell you about a strategy where the fee disappears. Now, I'm not saying that every advisor is acting in bad faith. I mean, most are recommending what they know, but what they know is limited, and that limitation is costing veterans tens of thousands of dollars per year in retirement income that they could be receiving. Look, you earn the right to know all of your options, not just the ones your advisor gets paid to recommend. So here's what I want you to do next, okay? Just click on the link below this video and book a free strategy session with me. There's no cost to you. There's no obligation whatsoever, okay? On that call, I'm going to look at your specific savings, so your TSP, your 401ks, your IRAs, and I'll show you two numbers side by side. First, what the 4% rule produces from your current savings, so the income that your advisor would tell you is safe. And second, what a market-protected income strategy produces from those same savings, and it's guaranteed, it's for life, and both spouses are covered. And when you see those two numbers next to each other for your specific situation, not just something hypothetical, the gap is going to shock you. And you're probably going to wish someone had shown this to you years ago. Now, every plan that we build is custom to the veteran's age, their savings, their income sources, and their goals. So that's why I work with a limited number of clients at a time. So if this video made the math click, then don't wait for the next market crash to force the decision. Just click below, just pick a time. Let me show you what your savings are actually worth. So I'm Dan Farnsworth, Victory X Financial. Stay sharp, stay ready.